Yhwach versus Dragon Ball Super Gauntlet. Let's see how far does he gets. And like I said, man, I take everything, you know, the power scale say, take it with a grain of salt, bro. Like I said, y'all gotta let me know. Did he cook or not? Nah, I take everything power scale say with a grain of salt, man. That's just me. But when it comes to, you know, big gag goat, say, tell me, oh, bro, you already know. Y'all already know what I'm going with on this one. But let's see what this one is. Can he run the gullet? How far does he go? I be telling people, I be saying, like I said, bro, I be feeling like him and Ichigo can like go all the way through. I'm just calling it, like he can go all the way through with Goku too, man. I'm just saying. But let's just see. Let me just see.
With our recent video doing really well, we decided to make a part 2 of that video, where instead of using Ichigo again, we will be making the king of all Quincy's, Yhwach, fight against the entirety of Dragon Ball Super. If you're not familiar with how we did our last video, then I will give a brief explanation. What we will do is scale Yhwach at his strongest state, which is his Soul King form, and make him match up against each antagonist of every arc in Dragon Ball Super, like Goku Black, Jiren, and Broly. We will discuss every win con each opponent has.
You doing Goku Black? I think he probably gonna stop at Goku Black. I believe he possibly can stop at Goku Black.
And how they will conflict in these matchups. This is our second time doing this, and we really enjoyed doing the last video. So if you want another Bleach or Dragon Ball related video from us, let us know by liking and subscribing. It really motivates us to push out more unique content to you guys. And without further ado, let's begin the gauntlet.
For my skill of Yhwach, it's basically going to be the exact same as the Ichigo video, with a bit more leniency for a higher echelon scaling. We can start with minor feats to move on and build up from, beginning with the star ranges within Bleach. These feats include Yukio's Dimension, which houses a star, Light Nova Grimmjow having the potency to disrupt the sun, Senya having enough power to destroy that of a star, and yes, she is a canon character within the series. And this feat alone I've seen get higher as well. The reason behind this is because the Valley of Screams is estimated and could be argued to be infinite in size. This of course could be up for your interpretation and how you value the word infinite and countless within anime series. Anyways, the Kyogoku can withstand infinite souls, meaning the space consists of countless blanks. And we know it has a star within it as well, since there is light visible within the dimension. Pretty much every little pocket dimension created within the Kyogoku has its own time cycle. And we know Yamamoto would scale above every previously mentioned character, since his Bankai alone was going to destroy the Soul Society. I went over this in the Ichigo video, but like I said, it's likely referring to that of the Serite or the planet itself, not the actual universe of the Soul Society. The reason for this being that base Yhwach scaling far above Yama, I mean hell, the guy went toe to toe with the guy Roidloid, a soldier drastically beneath Yhwach. But pre-Soul King Yhwach is aware of Yamamoto's fearsome power. Next up, we can move on and point out Senjumaru, a character from Squad Zero, and her Bankai, as it was able to shake the heavens and earth of the three worlds, the world of the living, Wakyo Mundo, and the Soul Society. Meaning Senjumaru's Bankai was able to affect all three worlds of existence and their individual universes. The scaling for this is in those multi-solar system ranges, and this is just a fraction of Squad Zero's actual power. As if they didn't suppress their actual power, their Bankais would be enough to possibly collapse one of the three universes, if not all three. And this is a calculation alone, since we know Senjumaru is far above Grimmy, who was able to create multiple stars alongside a distant galaxy in his battle with Kenpachi. And yes, this would scale to Grimmy since he was actually thinking about outer space when that happened. And this is short-lived, as even though Grimmy proclaims to be the strongest Quincy, he still wasn't one of the 4 chosen Sun Raiders to invade the Soul Palace alongside Yhwach. Even a base pre-Soul King Yhwach is negative in Grimmy alongside the other Shustoffel. Enough about this lower scaling, let's get into the higher echelons of universal scaling. Yhwach was going to destroy all 3 universes in order to build one singular universe, going back to the predating universe without fear and death, the world of the living and the soul.
You know, they be saying show like destroying planet feats and stuff. But yeah, I'm just.
Society are direct parallel universes. Think of the world of the living as our own universe in real life, and the Soul Society as a divine parallel mirror. This is consistent as when Kisuke is describing the world of the living, multiple celestial bodies and galaxies are shown on screen. This is to be evident since both the world of the living and the Soul Society possesses distant stars. Some backing evidence being the kanji shown here referring to the Soul Society and the world of the living being parallel universes, as well as the kanji for macrocosm or universe being used. More evidence here as the collapse of the universe is shown numerous times within the series. Hell, even a far weakened Aizen was able to destroy the cleaner that controls time and space, by practically just standing there. The cleaner governing the time and space within the Dangai, in which has a completely separate time principle flow than that of the other worlds. Also described as a space-time continuum by Mayuri himself, a reliable and trusted source. With the Bleach cosmology being roughly explained, and with Yhwach collapsing all three individual universes alongside other pocket dimensions and space-time continuums, with the Gargantia being that all-encompassing space. Yhwach's AP scale would come to around low multiversal. There is ways to exceed this, but I don't think it's consistent and reliable in all honesty. Maybe in the future I'll fully go over and cover Bleach cosmology to scale comp characters. If you disagree with this scale, just remember the guy is fighting.
Hey, like I said, bro, I'm taking everything. I take everything they say with a grain of salt, bro. That's just me. That's just me. And I'm, whatever.
Dragon Ball Super characters for God's sake, so at least give it to him for the video. For speed, we know he drastically upscales from previous light speed feats, such as the Negation, in which lieutenants are able to avoid and dodge, alongside Ceros. There's also his Oswalin, in which characters such as Loloto was able to avoid. Given all these upscale to Yhwach, we can grant Yhwach with MFTL plus speeds. If you want a more detailed speed scaling, watch the Ichigo video. I'm pretty sure I covered it a little better and a little more. And as for calc stacking, there's really no reason to calc stack, as like I said with the Ichigo video, I just hate doing it. And it's really not a great metric to use for power scaling, especially in content videos. There's other arguments such as infinite or inaccessible speed metas, using Lilibaro's attacks, Senjumaru's Bankai shake travel effect, and Ichibei being able to steal concepts from the future. I won't be using these, but they're here if you want to interpret Yhwach's speed that high. For abilities, I'm not going to list them, as we will go over all the important and viable ones later into the fights.
To begin this gauntlet, instead of starting on the very first arc, I will be skipping the Battle of Gods arc, since Yhwach would have to fight Beerus, and for the gauntlet I would like to save this fight for later in the video. This version of Beerus is obviously much weaker than the version of what we see later on, so I'd rather make Yhwach fight Beerus at his best later on. So instead I will start in the Universe 6 saga, where Yhwach will have to fight against Hit. If you watched our last video, you know I got Boo into the multi-galaxy range at a low ball, and
Yeah, I believe he can get past Hit, bro. I like Hit too, man, but he getting past Hit, bro.
high uni for a high ball. Obviously this will get clipped by the Beerus and Super Saiyan God Goku fight, where it's stated that their clashes would destroy the universe. There are some separate translations that say they are shaking the universe instead of destroying it, but either way they both massively upscale from the high uni scaling for Majin Buu. Goku after his fight with Beerus would go on to unlock Super Saiyan Blue, which is the Super Saiyan version of the Super Saiyan God form. The original Super Saiyan form was a 50 times multiplier from its base, so Super Saiyan Blue should at least be 50 times stronger than the Super Saiyan God feats, and Hit would match and even outperform the Super Saiyan Blue Goku, meaning at the very least Hit scales 50 times above the Battle of Gods fight. So at a low ball, Hit should be in the Uni Plus tier, and his speed is easily in the MFTL Plus range. Hit's main way of fighting is by controlling and bending time to his will, by skipping 0.5 seconds into the future and putting his opponents in a time prison, and is capable of creating pocket dimensions that he can travel to attack his opponents. It's basically like Madara's Limbo clones in simpler terms. Hit overall is a pretty well-rounded fighter, but unfortunately he is facing Yhwach. Anything Hit tries to do to Yhwach, he will just see it coming and reverse anything Hit has done. Not only can Yhwach change the future, but he can also attack from the future just like Hit, and by a much faster gap than Hit's 0.5 second time skip. Even if Hit were to somehow trap Yhwach in his time prison, not only could Yhwach just change the future, but he could also just straight overpower it, as we've seen Jiren do so before. Another thing I can mention is that Yhwach could potentially just power null Hit's time ability, as we've seen Yhwach power null Ichibei's ability by just acknowledging it. Every win con I can mention for Hit, Yhwach pretty much has a counter against. The only thing going for Hit will be the speed edge, but Hit is getting severely outhaxed.
Now we can shift into the Resurrection F arc, where Yhwach will fight Golden Frieza. Frieza, after training for 4 months, was able to unlock this form and fight evenly against Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and was overall the stronger fighter. This Goku should be stronger than his prior self that used Kaioken times 10 in tandem with Super Saiyan Blue. So at the very worst, Golden Frieza should be in the Uni Plus tier, and possibly in the low multi range. But I will say Uni Plus for this fight. Frieza should also be much faster than Hit in Universe 6 Saga Goku. There are of course infinite speed metas that could be mentioned, like base Goku traveling through hell in the Buu Saga, which is stated to be infinite in size. If you don't buy the infinite speed meta, then at the very least he is blatantly MFTL plus. So he does have the speed edge against Yhwach, like most of the Dragon Ball characters here. Like we said back in the Ichigo video, Frieza's stamina is going to be the main problem here since he's consistently using his full power, and this will result in his attacks getting weaker over time. So if Frieza can't find a way to kill Yhwach quickly, then he's pretty much not going to at all. Yhwach would probably let Frieza just burn himself out before Yhwach actually kills him, which is pretty in line with Yhwach's character.
Next up we can talk about the Goku Black arc, where Yhwach will be fighting Goku Black and Zamasu. Goku Black, when we first see him, was able to fight evenly with Super Saiyan 2 Goku. This is impressive because Goku was able to manifest the Super Saiyan God form and the God Ki into his base form. This means that this Super Saiyan 2 Goku was way stronger than the Battle of Gods Goku that we've seen before, and yet Goku Black beats him in base. And later on, Goku Black was fighting casually against Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in his base form, and once he goes Super Saiyan Rose, he easily outperforms both Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta. Since Goku Black far surpasses anybody from the previous arcs, he should be in the low multiversal tier, at least in his Super Saiyan Rose form. And as for speed, without the infinite speed metas, Goku Black should be about 11 octillion times the speed of light, which obviously is MFTL+. Zamasu should also be in the same tier of AP and speed as Goku Black, but he has the ability of being immortal, where he cannot be damaged or killed by any means. And since Goku Black and Zamasu have a time ring, this would mean that they would not be affected by anything that happens in the past, but that doesn't mean they can't be affected by the future. Since Yhwach can see any future event from hundreds of years before it happens, he can still react and still land attacks from the future. The biggest—
Oh, never mind then. I thought Goku Black was gonna get it, but I guess not.
problem here is that Yhwach has no way in damaging Zamasu since he is immortal. We've seen Yhwach face immortal beings before such as Ichibei and Aizen, but he never had a way of finishing them off for good. Yhwach does have shifts such as the Antithesis and the Balance that will just reverse any damage he takes onto Zamasu, but it kinda depends if you believe those shifts will bypass Zamasu's immortality or not. If you believe it can, then it could be presented as a win con for Yhwach, but in my honest opinion, I don't really see Zamasu getting damaged regardless. But the immortality isn't the end all be all. Yhwach's best shot at defeating Zamasu is by BFR or battlefield removal, using his shift the jail, which can seal anybody into a separate dimension. And from what we know, Zamasu can't cut or escape through space and time like Goku Black can. As for Goku Black himself, Yhwach does
they're gonna trap him. They're gonna trap him in now. Gonna trap him, but he can't defeat him, so they're gonna trap him. Okay, there you go. That's how I'm seeing it.
Have some ways with dealing with him, like using his shift known as the death dealing, which can give the perfect amount of poison to kill the opponent, which we've never seen Goku Black deal with any sort of poison. Another shift Yhwach does have in his arsenal is the miracle, which lets him grow in strength by taking any sort of damage and increasing his physical size. This wouldn't really make too much of a difference, as Goku Black can also increase his power by just fighting in general. Another shift we could use as a win con for Yhwach would be the compulsionary, where he can basically just crush or warp his opponent's body by just looking at them. This is something I don't really see Goku Black fighting against, since this would just bypass any conventional durability, and Goku Black has no way in sensing it. Unless you think Goku Black could regenerate from this, or simply overpower it, then sure. But honestly, I don't see that happening, as both do scale similarly in AP. One last win con I will present is something both Goku Black and Zamasu are going to have a hard time dealing with, and this shift is known as the Visionary, which turns anything Yhwach imagines into reality, meaning the win cons here are basically endless, as Yhwach could have access to many different ways of using this against both of them, by just using his imagination. For example, Yhwach could just straight up turn Goku or Zamasu's bones into cookies.
Can't they just break out of that? I'm just saying, can't like they just break out of that, bro? Like punch through it? No, I don't think. Okay, like I said, I'm taking everything with a grain of salt, bro. I don't know.
And so forth. This fight overall could go either way, since both are relative in both AP and speed.
So it's like a toss up. It's a flip. It's a toss up, bro. Like I said, I feel like he'll stop at Goku Black, well, Rose or whatever you want to stop. I feel like he stopped right here. But it's all that's who I feel like he stopped at.
Only trouble I see against Yhwach will be Zamasu's immortality, which I mentioned how Yhwach could just counter against it. Any other shifts I
when they fuse
mention for Yhwach are either just useless or probably wouldn't work, as some of his strafes require time or need to be very situational. And I wouldn't want to give rat arguments, although he is fighting Dragon Ball characters. So all in all, I believe it could end in a stalemate, as neither Goku Black or Zamasu have a way of permanently killing Yhwach, and Yhwach doesn't have a way of killing Zamasu. Or Yhwach could just somehow squeeze out a W by sealing Zamasu and just out-hacking Goku Black, which wouldn't be an
see that I'm saying, like all he gotta do is just trap him, seal him up, and that's it. You don't even gotta fight him, just seal him. Gotta be quick though.
Easy task for Yhwach, as both Goku Black and Zamasu are both equally as strong and much better in a combative sense. As for fused Zamasu, however, the immortality would still be there, but he is much more vulnerable since Zamasu is fused with immortal. But this fusion is many times stronger and faster than the previous opponents Yhwach has faced, so this fight will be Yhwach's hardest battle. But the win cons I previously mentioned are still there and can still be used against fused Zamasu. Even though fusion gives a big multiplier in strength, they should still be in the low multiversal range, but have a much greater speed. So as for fused Zamasu, I think Yhwach barely scraped.
Yhwach gotta catch him off guard. That's how I see it. Yhwach gotta catch him off guard, and then that's a W right there for him.
through, as both are still in the same tier, but Yhwach could get around the immortality this time.
Let's move on to the Tournament of Power arc, since we're not going to make Yhwach fight every single opponent in this arc, since that would be 10 hours long. If you guys want, we could make Yhwach fight the entirety of Tournament of Power, or someone different, as Yhwach or someone else would have a lot of fights such as Kefla, Topo, or Jiren, and many more. But for today's video, we're only going to make Yhwach fight Jiren. Again, if you want a separate video of Yhwach fighting everyone in this arc, or someone different, just let us know. Jiren would massively upscale from everyone previously mentioned. Jiren has multiple statements of being the strongest person Goku has ever fought, and the statement of Jiren's power surpassing a god of destruction. It's stated as well that Jiren's power alone was shaking the world of Void, which is an infinite size space, with no concept of time. It's more evident as we've seen Jiren casually block Super Saiyan God Goku's attacks with a finger. This version of Goku is massively stronger than the Goku that fought Beerus, which we said earlier could destroy the macrocosm of Universe 7. A universe with multiple infinite sized realms and parallel worlds the size of the universe. And with the statement of Jiren surpassing gods of destruction, he would at the very least be stronger than the version of Beerus and Champa who were sparring. Obviously Jiren wouldn't scale to their full power, but Beerus and Champa's clashes alone were stated to be able to destroy both Universe 6 and 7, which are twin universes. Basically meaning Jiren should surpass the power of two macrocosms that contain multiple infinite sized realms. And of course he should scale above Infinite Zamasu, who emerged and was going to destroy all of Universe 10. This at a low ball should grant Jiren with multiversal levels of power in just his base form. And as for speed, if you don't think people moving in the world of Void, which has no time, makes Jiren infinite speed, then at the very least Jiren should be at least 632 nonillion times the speed of light, via calcs and multipliers. Jiren specifically doesn't have a kit or any abilities. He is just pretty much raw stats and combative skill. Any physical attacks Yhwach would try to do, Jiren would just shrug off, negate, or overpower. So since Jiren is stronger and faster than Yhwach would have to resort to any hacks in his arsenal. Now, Yhwach does have access to Blue Vein, which increases his durability, which could potentially help him take a few attacks from Jiren, as multiversal and low multiversal isn't too much of a stat difference, but there is a difference there. As for the shrifts he could use, the fear to possibly abuse his family or his family being murdered against Jiren. But saying this is pretty much a stretch since Yhwach doesn't have any way of knowing this. From what we know, it just makes him angry. And if that were the case, it actually potentially makes him stronger. Even if it were to work, Jiren just overall could possibly overpower this. Although Jiren is stronger and faster, Yhwach does have other ways of fighting back, with his wide array of shrifts, for example the death dealing. Again, Yhwach could have the perfect lethal amount to poison and kill Jiren. We saw Askin use this against Oetsu when Oetsu was clearly stronger than him. And this actually works in Yhwach's favor since we don't know how Dragon Ball characters deal with poison. But if Jiren doesn't have any resistance to things such as poison, then it could work in Yhwach's favor once again to kill him. He also has Antithesis, which reverses any damage Yhwach takes onto Jiren, and for that matter just any event in general. And of course he has the Almighty, meaning Jiren has no way in killing him since Yhwach can change future events including his death. He could use this in tandem with the Miracle, which lets him get stronger and larger even if he's damaged or dies. But making Yhwach larger would make it easier for Jiren to land hits. And it's not like Jiren can't get stronger mid-fight as well. Yhwach also has the gel to just BFR Jiren. But this attack does travel, and most likely Jiren will just avoid it. I could mention the Visionary, as there's a lot of ways Yhwach could take advantage of this. Like he could imagine making clones of himself or clones of Jiren to fight against the real Jiren. He could imagine just sealing him. Or imagine that Yhwach has Jiren's power. All these can be used as win cons for Yhwach, since when Yhwach has it, there's really not going to be a limit, as Grimmy is an idiot and just a bum in general. But in my opinion, I don't really know how valid these conditions would be. But saying Yhwach could just spam all these abilities with no real limits would just be a no limits fallacy in general. And it's pretty ratty and unreasonable to say Yhwach cannot die and just continues to spam these broken abilities. So just take the Visionary win cons with a grain of salt. Overall, this fight could be a stalemate, as Jiren would have no real way in actually countering the Almighty, but Yhwach doesn't have the speed nor the power to defeat Jiren fully, other than the very situational win cons with his abilities. But since Jiren is blatantly stronger, I will give him the win here. He deserves it, which means that Yhwach's Gauntlet run ends here. Even though Yhwach is the peak of the Bleach Forest, it's pretty impressive that we can get him this far into the Dragon Ball Super universe. And we know you guys actually want to see Yhwach finish the Gauntlet, so that's what we're going to be doing. We can just see how Yhwach could survive in the next arcs, instead of winning. But as for the Tournament of Power arc, This is as far as Yhwach goes.
So now we can move on to the Broly arc, where of course Yhwach will try to survive against Broly. This isn't a matter of winning, but how Yhwach can keep himself alive. It's a pretty big debate whether Broly or Jiren is stronger, but one thing we know for sure, Broly, regardless if he is equal to Yhwach, or even if he is weaker than Yhwach, Broly's growth in power within a fight will be the big difference maker. For example, in his movie, Broly started off getting washed by Vegeta in base, to now at the end of the movie he's fighting against Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. The difference in power in that alone will be unquantifiably large, probably thousands of times stronger in just one fight. So since Broly is already stronger than Yhwach, he would only continue to get stronger throughout the fight, even though he probably doesn't need to. Yhwach's only way of even lasting against Broly would be just through using the blunt vein to prevent him getting one-shotted, along with antithesis and the balance, which should help reverse any event or damage he takes. Things like sealing with the jail wouldn't work either, as we've seen Broly in his fight against Gogeta just break through entire dimensions. So Broly could literally just punch through the jail. Of course though, Broly can't kill Yhwach, thanks to the Almighty. But other than just ratting and try to stretch any win cons I can for Yhwach, he could probably last against Broly for a while, but given Broly is just stronger and faster, it's more likely that he could just one-shot Yhwach anyway. And Yhwach just isn't killing Broly either in any way. But since Yhwach can still live against Broly, we can still move on.
Next up, we can go into the Dragon Ball Super Heroes, where Yhwach will go against Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and Cell Max. Both Gamma 1 and 2 are stated by Piccolo to be comparable to Goku and Vegeta, and are also stated to be able to wipe out the Z Fighters. And this movie takes place 3 years after the Granola arc, meaning at the very least they should be comparable to MUI Goku in the Moro arc, in which Goku and Vegeta fought Moro on Earth, which is probably more likely since Piccolo was present in that fight. Or Piccolo is saying that they are comparable to TUI Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta, which means they massively upscale from everyone else in AP and speed. So given all of this, they should scale in the multiversal range at a low ball, and possibly high multiversal range if you think they're comparable to TUI Goku and Ultra Ego Vegeta. Again, they can't kill Yhwach. They of course could one-shot Yhwach, but Yhwach can still change the future. Shrifts like the death dealing wouldn't work at all, since both Gamma 1 and 2 are robots. Sealing with the gel wouldn't work either, since they could just dodge it due to their much faster speed. And other shifts I could think of wouldn't work in Yhwach's favor besides the Almighty, but overall he should just be able to stay alive. And with that, we can move on to Cell Max. Gamma 1 and 2 I mentioned earlier should be comparable to MUI Goku and Vegeta in the Moro fight. Gamma 2 would then get one-shotted by Orange Piccolo, meaning Orange Piccolo should be at the very least comparable to both Goku and Vegeta, if not surpassing them in strength. And yet when we see Cell Max come into play, he just bodies and ragdolls this same Orange Piccolo. Another thing to mention too is the Ultimate Gohan, even while Rusty, was able to fight against Gamma 1 and overpower him, meaning Gohan as well should be comparable to MUI Goku while Rusty. This basically means it took Gohan, Piccolo, and both Gammas to stop Cell Max. All 4 who scale relative or above MUI Goku. Honestly, I really wouldn't know how to quantify the AP from MUI Goku to Cell Max, but Cell Max even at the very least should be in the high multiversal range, as we've gotten Jiren to multiversal, which was 3 arcs ago. So the high multiversal scale would make sense. And scaling speed at this point is just pretty much irrelevant. They're all faster than Yhwach, so there's really no point. And now for this fight, you pretty much get it already. Yhwach's getting washed here. There is quite literally nothing he can do besides being a punching bag for Cell Max. Antithesis wouldn't even matter here, as he can't reverse damage if he just gets one-shotted. So the only thing keeping Yhwach going is his Almighty. So nothing really changes here. Yhwach is getting no diff by both Gammas and Cell Max, but Yhwach still stands.
Now finally we can get into the final fight, Yhwach vs Beerus. As I've said before, I didn't want Yhwach to fight Beerus at the start, as Beerus' scaling in Battle of Gods would be in the high uni range, since Beerus needed to use around 60 to 70% of his power to deal with.
He nearly used 70. He was still in his 60s. But you know, okay. He still was in his 60% though. I'll say nearly. So that's like 67%, or you are 68%. He wasn't really fully into the 70% of power.
With Super Saiyan God Goku, which would then be retconned by Toyo, as we've seen Beerus deal with clearly much stronger people than Super Saiyan God Goku. And since that Beerus was scaled to high uni, that would mean Yhwach scales above him, and I didn't want to start off with Yhwach beating Beerus at the very start, so now I can scale Beerus' comp version. In the manga, Beerus himself states that he can intervene and defeat Moro, who was able to stop MUI Goku, and then later was shown to just one-shot and enrage Super Saiyan Blue evolved Vegeta, who should be way stronger than Vegeta and Goku's Tournament of Power and Broly movie counterparts. And what we see in the manga But in a narrative sense, it seems that the Saiyans are nowhere near Beerus' power yet, even at their current states. So at the very least, Beerus should be comparable to current Broly, Goku, and Vegeta, or much stronger. So at a minimum, he will be in the high multiversal tier. And now here, I believe this is where Yhwach truly dies, thanks to one ability, Hakai. Hakai is an ability in Beerus' disposal that lets him erase anything from existence, which Yhwach would have no counter to, since he can't come back if he just erased from existence. Now look, there are existence erasing feats within Bleach, and characters that deal with existence erasing feats, like Hado 54, and Yhwach himself has dealt with a sort of existing erasing ability, like Ichibe's Zanpakuto. You could also say that Yhwach has the chance to power null Hakai, given he negated Ichibe's name ability by just seeing it, which could work if they were equally as strong. But given Beerus is just so much stronger and faster, Yhwach has no way in negating it no matter what. But if you still believe the Almighty will still bring him back, then sure. But honestly, I think it's best this is where it ends. Yhwach doesn't have a way of resisting Hakai, and since he is erased, then he has no way in returning. So this is where Yhwach's run truly ends.
Thank you guys for watching till the end. If you guys enjoy this type of content,
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Do y'all agree with it? Did he cook or did he didn't? I don't know, man. But you know, it is what it is. But you already know. Link up on the screen, all that good stuff, man.